Hello, welcome to Real Stories of Real Authors. I'm Sherry Ward, founder and CEO of Square Two Publishing. And today I have with me Anthony Brown, and he is one of our Square Two authors, and he has an amazing story and process of writing his story that I just want to share with you today. So welcome, Anthony.
Well, thank you, Sherry.
I'm so glad you're here. So for our viewers, I know that they don't quite know your background yet, and you have such an interesting background. So you want to talk a little bit about, tell us about your story, about what happened to you?
My stories, for some it might be interesting, for some it might be frightening. But basically I came from an abused childhood from when I was younger. Got used to being around violence, witnessed a lot of it. As I grew up, that became what I felt was a normal lifestyle. Got involved in drugs and ended up going to jail for a substantial period of time. Got through that, found a Bible in the trash can. And
Tell us, wait, stop there, because that's such an interesting part of your journey. So tell me about that. You were in jail, right? You're incarcerated.
Yes, I have a tendency, when I go to jail, I pray a lot. You know?
Yeah, I would think.
yeah.
Okay.
I tend to believe that for me, God has to take everything away so I can hear Him. You know, He has to take away everything.
I think that's for a lot of us, though, right? I mean, sometimes when He just clears the deck, however He clears the deck, you know?
Yes.
And so then you found a Bible, right?
I found a Bible, and it was a little red one, and all the pages were stuck together because people would throw trash and.
So you found it in the trash can?
It was in the trash can.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, with all that junk and...
Yeah, just all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm in prison digging in a trash can.
Oh, yeah.
But I found the Bible, and I took it to my cell, and all the pages were stuck together. And I would just peel them.
Oh.
And it's interesting. Bible pages are really thin.
Yeah, they are. And you can tear them really easy.
Yeah. But each one I peeled it, and I would let them dry, and then just keep peeling it. And you know, someone had written in the Bible, wrote little sayings and underlined things, and
that's cool.
the ink was smeared, and you know, it was good. It was
Awesome.
good.
So then you restored that Bible.
Yes, I did, and I read it. I used to exercise, studying verses, and you know, do push-ups. And if I mess up a verse, I would have to start all over in the push-ups.
Wow, you were probably pretty buff then.
I was pretty buff. You know, Jesus saves.
Oh, messed up again. Okay, you got to do it again. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that helped me out with I think, the connection I have with God right now. I think that helped out a lot.
Because you could really hear His voice, because you were really pressing in for that, because that's all you had at the time.
Yes.
And that Bible was pretty symbolic of your life, I would think. You know, you carefully, painstakingly went through each page, and you were finding healing, and you were finding, you know, wholeness in the journey through that process as well, right?
Yeah, I believe that to be true, to be honest with you.
Okay.
It really was symbolic to where I was at that time. Learning how to accept help, knowing what help really was, and giving new insight into what life was really all about. You know, it wasn't about having things. What it was about was having a connection to something greater than me.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So how did you get out of jail, or what happened after jail then?
Which time?
Yeah, so you were in quite a long, in and out, right?
I was in and out. I would get out of jail because most of the things I went to jail for was my drug addiction, or having drugs, or attempting to sell drugs. And I would get out, I would go in for 6 months, get out, go back to the same place, get arrested by the same police officer, go back to jail, do 8 months, get out, same thing, go to prison, get out, same place, same thing. Just an ongoing cycle.
But I want to pause a little bit in your story right here, because the whole reason you probably went into drugs and stuff was for relief out of the childhood, right? Because you've experienced a lot of trauma in your background, right?
I did, and I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know the abuse, or witnessing abuse, the beatings. I didn't know that was trauma. I thought that was just my mom's way of molding me into the person.
Just getting out that little, like, you know.
Yeah, that little extension cord.
Yeah, everybody talks about that extension cord, like, let's whip them, you know.
Yeah, and it hurts.
You just thought that was normal.
That was normal. And to the point where I couldn't take it anymore, so I ran away from home when I was 14. But
Can I add one part? When I read your book, the interesting part, you ran away to the carnival.
yes.
Tell me about that. I was so fascinated, but like somebody ran away to the carnival, you know?
Yeah, the carnival is a perfect escape place because they go from town to town. You never set in the same place twice. So as a runaway, nobody can identify you because you blend in. And it's easy to hide in the background because nobody pay attention to a carnival person. Or whenever, if you were noticed, there's plenty of place to hide because you're temporary, so nobody knows where the hiding places are per se. You know.
Interesting.
And
That's really interesting.
yeah, and being with the carnival, there's no rules, so you can do whatever you want, and that helped with my drug addiction. I could stay loaded, and nobody cared.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Really interesting. And then what happened to your mom? I know you've had some trauma with your mom as well, right?
Yeah. About when I was 9, me and my 2 sisters got up in the middle of the night, and we seen my mom laying on the floor, and she got shot in the head.
Whoa.
And I remember the blood and the gray matter. I remember that. That's always in my head. And then after that, it was sort of like a blank. And then I remember she had a bandage around her head. And then we moved from that city to a different city. And
So she survived?
she survived that.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't even think she had any brain damage because she became a nurse afterwards.
Wow.
Yeah, so,
Wow.
I guess God works in some mysterious ways.
Yeah, really. Really.
Yeah.
So because of all that trauma, then that led a lot to the addiction. And I would assume after that, you know, all the bars were taken off. I mean, you just probably went crazy after that, right? Because it was just so traumatic, maybe, or?
At that point in my life, after she got shot, I got heavily into drugs, drinking, anything to suppress my feelings, and I didn't know I didn't know I was suppressing my feelings. And it's interesting because later on in life, when I started having feelings, they were foreign.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
because you had numbed them for
right,
so long.
and I didn't know what they were.
Wow.
You know.
Wow.
But after that episode, I didn't really do well with society. You know, school, I didn't want no part of that. I didn't want no part of hurting anybody, and so I just drank and did drugs and just ran around in the streets and did whatever I wanted to.
And went away to the carnival.
Yes.
I still like that part because we always joke about, hey, I'll just go to the carnival, but you actually did.
Yes, yes.
You actually did.
I actually did.
And so then you had the in and out of jail, and then what was your turning point? Like, what was the time that really said, this is enough, I'm ready to get clean, I'm ready to change my life? Like, what was that aha? Did you have an aha, or was it a gradual?
I had, after a while, you kind of get tired. You know, I started drinking and using at 14, and at 37, I come to realize I don't have anything. And not having anything really didn't matter. It's just, there's an emptiness that I felt. And no matter what I did, it couldn't fulfill that. I mean, I couldn't drink enough of that emptiness away, and I couldn't do enough drugs of that emptiness. I mean, I remember times when it was raining, and I'd sit in the rain and just wonder, what is it? But I couldn't stop, you know. And then one day a police officer who continued to arrest me asked me if I wanted some help.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So it was a police officer that helped you then?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I
That's
said,
great.
Yeah, and I said, yeah. you know.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he introduced me to a lady in treatment who said, I'll give you a place to live, you know, if you want to stop. And I'm like, okay. I mean, half of me, I didn't believe it,
Yeah,
you know, but the other half said, okay, what else do you have to lose? And,
awesome, and that was your start.
that was my start, yeah.
So it was a police officer. So when you say the one person helped you change, would you credit that to that police officer then, or was it other people?
There are many ones.
Ones, okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
There are
That's
many
really
ones. And I think each one person appeared in different segments of my life that got me to believe in people again.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, 'cause,
Interesting, yeah.
yeah.
And probably at just the right time, like God had put those people at the right place at the right time to get you to that next place, I would assume, right?
Yes, yes. And so the police officer introduced me to the lady who had the treatment center, who introduced me to my first 12-step meeting, who introduced me to my first sponsor.
Okay.
And as things were progressing, I remember sitting at the park, and then that's when I finally asked the big question. You know, I said, always knew of a God, because you know, I've been going to church and all of that stuff, but it was always a God in the rescue business. Like, God, please help me, I won't do this anymore.
Oh, yeah. The negotiating.
Right.
Yeah, like, okay, please, please, please.
Yes. And
Yeah.
so that's how I thought God was. You know, and then I was sitting at the park one day, and I said, you know, God, I know cars run on gas, and I know concrete objects are solid. I know this for a fact. Prove to me that you're there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's the big question.
That was the big question.
Okay, so that's the answer.
Oh my God. Everything at that moment turned 3D. Absolutely everything. The trees that was around me turned 3D. I looked around, there was all kinds of animals surrounding me. I mean, I got hit with such a profound impact that there was no question that my question was answered. And from that point forward, God's been the center of my life.
Wow. So right when, it wasn't drug induced, it wasn't anything like that?
I was sober a couple of years.
Oh, you were sober a couple of years when
Yes.
this happened? Okay.
Mhm.
Wow, so the minute that you said that, like the world just got 3D on you.
Instantly.
Wow, what
Instantly.
a great question to ask.
Yeah.
That's a great question to ask.
Yeah.
He's not afraid of it. He'll
He-
answer it.
He did.
He did.
He did. He answered me in a way in which there was no dispute, there was no challenging, there was no question. I mean, it was so profound. And then I got this overwhelming feeling of just being comfortable.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I still have that feeling today.
Like a peaceful, that's so awesome. And I think when we ask that big question, the really cool thing about that is he's gonna answer it in the way that we hear it.
Exactly.
Like you needed to hear it in that exact dimension, in that exact way. Or if somebody else asks that question, you know, they may get something else, but then they still have that feeling and they still know. They still know that they know that they know, but it would be in a different way, which I think is cool because he knows our personality and he knows what we need and what we respond to because he created us. So he knows us so much like that. I think that would be amazing. So then what happened? You got me on the edge of my seat. Now I've read the book.
Then after that, I just started fixing everything that I had broke in life. You know, I never had a job, so I got a job and I went to work. And I did what they asked me to do. You know, I started getting really deep in recovery and, you know, started to just forgive a lot of things. You know, let things go, take everything one day at a time and surround myself with positive people. And it was pretty cool because one of the things I wanted to do was finish school because I never finished school. You know, when I started getting loaded at 14, the highest education I got was, I think I spent one day in 9th grade.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow.
You know, and so I said I wanted to finish my education. And so once I got the job, I started going to school. you know.
Was it hard after all that time and not really having a solid background? Because didn't you repeat 8th grade a couple times even, or?
Yeah, I repeated 7th grade 3 times and 8th grade twice.
You were old. You were an
I was
old. You were an old 9th grader, man.
Oh my God, yes.
19 9th grader.
Well, I never went, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, it
The
was just
one
on
day,
paper,
yeah.
but it was
Yeah.
it was interesting. So education was it was just what was put in front of me, and I learned do what's in front. That's the message I got. Do what's in front of you to the best of your ability.
That's a great. Say that again. That was good.
That's the message I got. Do what's in front of you with the best of your ability, and that's what I did. You know,
Wow.
I mean, everything I gave 110%, knowing that God's got it. You know, going to school. I'm a nurse. Okay.
Fast forward. Spoiler alert.
Oh, okay. It's interesting. Well, I'm a psych tech as well, but going to school and having to get licensed after having multiple felonies, you know, took an act of God.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's really hard to get the state to give you a license to pass out or to distribute medication.
Oh yeah.
Having
I
a
didn't even
drug
think about that.
background.
Yeah. That totally makes sense.
Yeah, and all I did was I pray before I do anything, and then I just do what's in front of me, and I did that. One of the things that I wanted to complete was the psych tech program. I started trying to do the psych tech program in 1989, but it's hard to go to school when you're up all night doing drugs. It's
Just a little.
just a little, yeah. It is. I mean,
Yeah.
my textbooks.
Or blurry.
They were blurry and full of different color highlighters because of the drugs I was taking. And, you know, it's hard to practice giving injections when your hands are trembling.
Oh wow.
You know, and I'm not mad at the Law and Society from locking me up because I was a menace. I was unsafe out there in society.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was locked up, I was like given a break, and that helped restore my thinking enough, or clear my thinking enough, to at least try to go on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got arrested and put in treatment and started going to school, I started passing my classes.
Oh. Wow.
And yeah, and then
For the first time.
for the first time, yes.
Wow.
You know, I because everything else I tried, I'd get a bunch of W's or F's because I never completed.
Yeah.
You know, when I started going and I started passing my classes, and I would be hanging out with people that would say, "Go for it, you're doing it, good job." They would
Wow.
clap and go, "Yay!"
That's so awesome.
Yeah, and that
It was almost like you got down, you just rock bottom, and then slowly the one person, and I like that you said there's many one people in our lives, and it seems like with each thing it increased your confidence and your identity of who you are, and it kept building upon one after the other.
Yeah.
Now, was it a straight road up and all roses and
No.
butterflies?
Yes and no.
Okay.
The reason why I say yes and no is because when you go to so low of a bottom, no matter what it happens up here, it's all positive.
Mm.
You know, I could fail a class and be okay with it because at one point in time I had no education. You know,
And living on a park bench.
living on a park bench and eating out of a dumpster. You know, all of that stuff. I can get frustrated because I have no money, but then I can remember it's like at one point in time I had no appetite.
Oh, interesting.
You know, it's
Yeah.
so I picked up an attitude of gratitude. You know, and I'm grateful for every little thing because I know where I come from. And so the road that I'm traveling now is all positive, no matter what happens. You know, I got into, somebody hit my car, and it's like, okay, that's fine. You know?
Wow. Wow, recently?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and,
Wow.
and that's okay, because I have insurance, I have a driver's license, and at one point in time I didn't have a car.
Yeah. So it really you have a huge perspective on life that a lot of people don't, because you went from a park bench
Mm-hmm.
to what we're calling Park Avenue,
Yes.
which I love that. So the name of your book is From Park Bench to Park Avenue, and I love it. I joked with you all the time. It's like, it's the Monopoly. You took Boardwalk and Park Place, you know. It's like, and your version of that, because I know that you're giving back. So once you went into recovery and then you went through the education system, where did that land you? Like, where are you at now? We'd love to know.
Now I am I'm the director of nursing at a psych facility.
Okay.
And it's really interesting because I guess my life was so chaotic and so insane. God thought it'd be perfect for me to run a psych hospital. You know,
Wow.
because
Wow.
God for me is my best friend, and He loves to joke, and this is where I get my sense of humor from. You know, all my life I wanted to be a drug dealer. God made me a nurse. You know.
Well, you're still distributing drugs as a nurse, yeah.
Yeah, only thing is I have a license and it's legal now, you know. But
And you still get paid for it.
yeah, and I like it, you know, not the drug distributing, but the fact that I can change somebody's life.
Yeah.
That's important. I'm also a professor at a college, you know, and that's huge
At
because
Cyprus College, right?
yes, at Cyprus College,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Awesome.
Where it all began, you know. I tried going to school.
So Cyprus is where you first started.
Hmm.
So you've come full circle with Cyprus College.
Yes.
That's so awesome.
Yes, and I actually teach the same class that I went through.
Wow.
You know, from the beginning.
Wow.
Yeah.
That talk about full circle. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And don't you do something else too, right?
I also own a company, a corporation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You really are like Park
Yeah.
Avenue now.
Yeah, on a corporation. I'm building Brown Manor to help out. You know.
Okay, so why don't we talk about Brown Manor? Tell me, what is Brown Manor? Because for those out there, we're not quite sure on what Brown Manor is. So.
Okay. Brown Manor is an old mansion that I'm restoring to help people that are homeless or mentally ill, have substance abuse problems, people that want help.
Okay.
Is what Brown Manor is. And I decided to purchase it sight unseen.
Wow.
Yes.
You're brave.
I trust God.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just do what's in front of me. And Brown Manor came around because my brother needed a place to live. But the place he was living, we couldn't arrange it for him to purchase that. And he was unable to do it, so I just said, okay. And something just drove me to purchase Brown Manor. And it's really interesting because the first time I went to purchase that house, I offered them an X amount of money. I have money today. And I offered them an X amount of money for the house through a realtor. And he said no.
Really?
Yeah. And that was,
Interesting.
that was back in 2017.
Wow.
And so I just forgot about it. But then I met with my financial team because I borrowed the money from different accounts and they asked me where the money was. And I told them I paid off my credit cards and stuff and they get mad at me.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I said, okay. And then I just Googled the address of the house and it came up on Craigslist.
Craigslist?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And it was actually being sold by the owner.
Wow.
And so I contacted the owner and bought the house without having to
Wow.
pay for the realtor.
Oh my gosh, that's an amazing story. So it ended up being better for you, and your credit cards were paid off.
Yes.
So it's a twofer.
Yeah, it's a God thing.
Yeah.
I just do what's in front of me. This is what I do.
That's the lesson we need to walk away with, one of them for sure.
Yeah.
Is that you just do what's in front of you to do and trust God for it.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
awesome. So where are you at with Brown Manor right now?
Right now, Brown Manor is under construction.
Okay.
My nephew is in charge of the project. I roll my eyes because I know my nephew. But he's in charge of the project, and we're rebuilding it. It's getting costly because I don't have a bunch of money. I have money, but not a bunch of money, and things are just
Construction is, I used to own a construction company.
okay.
It's really expensive, and then you open up a wall, and then all of a sudden you see other things that need to happen, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, construction can be. So you're in construction right now
Yes.
to fix it up,
Mm-hmm.
and what is your goal? Like, is it a halfway house, is it to get the men off the street, is it a community center, what is Brown Manor?
It's a combination of, it's a little bit of everything. my vision is to have, underneath the umbrella of a resource center, I want people to be able to go there and have all kinds of meetings. It's for everybody that needs help, whether you're mentally ill, whether you have substance abuse issues, whether you're homeless, it doesn't matter. You know, if you want some help, we want you to walk through those doors. Part of it is going to be for meetings, 12-step meetings, anger management, relapse prevention, any kind of self-help program that someone wants to get involved in. And then another part of it is going to be for offices, for, you know, some sort of 12-step or recovery-based
Awesome.
entity. And then another part is going to be 6 beds for people who have a place to live that really want to get their life in order.
Wow. So are you going nonprofit with this, or what's your philosophy on that? What are you going to do towards Brown Manor as far as the entity? Because I would love to have people be able to donate or give to Brown Manor to help you.
Brown Manor is not going to be nonprofit,
Okay.
But it's not going to be profit for me. It's
Yeah.
for the people.
Okay.
Brown Manor I call, it's God's house, it's not my house. None of this stuff on this planet's mine. You know, when I came here, I didn't have it. When I leave, I can't take it. So I get to borrow and play with this stuff. And so Brown Manor is for the people that live there. You know, I'm the steward of it, and that's it. But anybody that contributes, they're part of that process. I wrote the book to create funding for that house. If you buy the book, you're part of Brown Manor. If
That's
you walk in
awesome.
the front door, you're part of Brown Manor.
So you're going to be giving the proceeds of the book to the Brown Manor.
Yes.
So you're dumping whatever your story and the proceeds off of that into Brown Manor to build this community center.
Yes.
And this is in Ohio, right?
Yes, it's
Okay.
in Mansfield, Ohio.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome, awesome. And then can you talk a little bit about your process of writing the book? Have you always thought about writing a book, or?
It's funny you asked me that question. When I was out homeless and addicted, I used to walk around with a pad, with a notebook and a pen, and I used to write.
Yeah?
Yeah,
So you were writing way back then?
yeah, you know, and the whole purpose of it was to write a book.
Really?
Yes. Yeah,
Really? You were
yeah.
on the streets writing your book?
I was on the streets writing my book,
Wow.
and all I was doing was just detailing how my world was at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And because of my multiple arrests, all of my notebooks are gone.
Oh, wow.
They're all gone.
Wow. Did you tell people when you were on the streets you're writing a book?
Yes,
Really?
I actually told them that.
Really?
Yeah,
They probably went, what?
yeah. Some people believed me, but a lot of people thought I was delusional.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Okay. Wow, that's so wild how that came full circle as well.
Yeah.
So do you feel like the book that you wrote today is a lot different than the book you wrote before?
You know.
I mean, obviously you were addicted at the time you were writing it. So.
Yes. Yes. One was all addiction. The other was post addiction. One was driven, or my belief at that time was a rescue God. Like, God help me get out of this. That's the way I was writing. This one is like a God-centered kind of thing. You
Like
know?
God is friend.
Yeah.
You went from God rescuer to like God friend.
Yeah, it's like God guided.
Wow.
That's how I feel.
Wow.
You know, I remember writing, when I was writing the book, I prayed and I was like, God, why can't this process be hurried? And I felt like he said, well, you know what, it took Noah 600 years to build an ark, so just chill out, you know? And that's how I felt.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long did it take you to write it?
A year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
and,
right.
and it's funny because I was sitting at a meeting one day, because somewhere out there in my life, somebody hears my story, I just don't mix, you know, my professional life with my personal life hardly. But I'm doing it now because...
Right, the
know,
book's coming out.
Yeah, the book's coming out, it's for a good cause. But in the meeting, someone heard my story and they said, why don't you write a book? I said, okay. And so I did it.
Wow.
And, you know, once I get started, I have to complete it.
Right, you're a finisher.
Yeah, and so here we are.
And then we met because I was doing a training at Cyprus College. And then that's how we ended up meeting. And you just came up to me and you said, hey, You know, would you be interested in writing my story? And once I found out, I'm like, oh, absolutely, you know, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give, because there's a lot of people out there that want to write their story or their memoir or just even fiction even, or they just want to be a writer. So what advice would you give people as they write their story?
I will tell people, if you want it, do it. That's it. No matter what. Make the commitment. Once you start it, finish it. You know, a lot of times, and I hear people once they discover I'm writing a book, I want to write a book too. Okay, do it. It's gonna take time, effort, and some finances, but just do it. You know, believe in what you do, and just finish the process. Find some guidance. I know I couldn't have done this without you.
Oh, thank
You know,
you.
it's true, and it's really interesting because I was at that stage where the manuscript was done, and I wanted to publish it, but I get involved in life,
Right,
and
right.
for some reason, at that exact point in time, I end up in a workshop with you, and you mentioned you're a publisher of one of your books. I'm like, oh my God. You know, so God said, hey, just give it to her.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
and that's how all this began.
That's so awesome. And it's been such an honor and a privilege for you to share your story with me. And now we get to share it to the world. So I'm super excited about that. And so would there be anything that you'd want to tell the audience out there or people watching or viewing, anything kind of parting thoughts about either your story or the writing process?
I have a lot to tell the world, but the short part of it is just believe in yourself and believe in other people. Believe that anything's possible if you want it bad enough. Some things are worth sacrificing, but no matter what in life, you're gonna do time anyway. You're gonna live anyway, and what you choose to do with it is up to you. I believe from my experience that anything's possible. I mean, I went from basically homeless, no, definitely homeless for years, to a point where I have this life I never could have imagined, and all I had to do is just believe and take the next indicated step, and just don't stop. Don't
That's
stop.
awesome advice.
And pray. If you believe in prayer, pray.
And I love your story because it's just so impactful and just the childlike trust you have in God, because you were at your very rock bottom, and just that trust to take that next step is fabulous. So we're going to offer you guys an opportunity to participate and be a part of Brown Manor. And there's two ways to do that. One of the ways is to get Anthony's book. And we're going to send some links. So in this post, you'll see some links to getting his book. And then also, we'll also put up a donations way to donate. So we'll put a link up for that as well. So we would love to have you as part of this, especially if you believe in his message, you believe in what he is stewarding, and you want to partner with what he's carrying to help these men off the street. So thanks, guys. Until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.